Time for culture, Nick, here on France 24 and after the summer hiatus. This week we're returning to our specialised culture segments. It's Wednesday. How have we survived without her? Lisa Nesselson is back in the chair. It's been 7 weeks, Lisa.
Thanks, Stuart. It's good to be back. And you know, these 2 months off have been a humbling experience because remarkably the Earth continued to spin on its axis and they kept bringing out movies even without me here to comment on them.
It's not fair of them, is it? You've returned in the nick of time, haven't you? Just for the record, what would you say was the most entertaining entertainment that you've had in the past few weeks?
The most entertaining entertainment? That would be the insanely overblown nominating conventions for the Republican
We agree.
and now Democratic parties. I have to say the creative use of red, white, and blue in every possible permutation probably has the great couture designers of France quaking in their calfskin boots. Since our topic is film, Clint Eastwood, quite memorably, was the only speaker to work without a teleprompter at last week's Republican convention, and that worked out well. The GOP, it's supposed to stand for the grand old party, but I think it might also stand for genuinely obnoxious platform, great portions of which are a lot more unbelievable than anything screenwriters have cooked up lately. For example, when it comes to the Republicans' view of women's reproductive functioning, their understanding of that, I find it easier to believe that Bruce Wayne, alias Batman, has a really cool car that flies like a helicopter through, urban canyons. People who follow the news know that the party that has nominated Mitt Romney for president and Paul Ryan for vice president is really, really, really opposed to abortion, a procedure that has, by the way, been completely legal in the United States since 1973. But I do admit I have to agree there is one situation in which a woman must never, ever seek an abortion.
And that is?
If she's not pregnant. I don't care if it's legal.
Good point.
If you're not pregnant, please drop the idea right now of getting an abortion. There's a film out in France now that makes a pretty good case for why some people should not have children. In Todd Solondz's sardonic comedy Dark Horse, Mia Farrow and Christopher Walken have a grown son who still lives at home. There's his neck, and is a self-centered and immature, clueless jerk. Now, immature, self-centered, clueless jerks also deserve love, I agree. But a case can be made for not giving birth in the first place if your kid grows up to be like this. Let's watch.
My whole life it's been lies.
Hey, honey, no one ever lied. We've written you off as a failure years ago.
You're a cheapskate and a freeloader.
They're my parents. They need me.
No one needs you.
Don't leave us, please. Where are you going to go?
I haven't decided yet. Maybe France.
I just love the idea that moving to France is going to solve one of his problems. It worked for us, didn't it?
Yes, well, that happens to be true. Obesity, depression, stupidity, bad taste, that all clears up when English-speaking people move to France.
And apropos of English-speaking people in France, I believe that as we speak, in fact, the Deauville Festival of American Film is underway in Normandy. It's complicated, that, isn't it? Showing some 80 American movies.
That's right. Deauville runs through this weekend when the awards will be given in the 14-film competition of American independent features. And Deauville, by the way, is a convenient day trip from Paris, and absolutely anybody can march up and buy a ticket to the movies. There's a superb selection of documentaries this year, and they also do previews of big studio releases for the coming months. They're hosting the world premiere of Taken 2, starring festival honoree Liam Neeson the day after tomorrow. Deauville is 38 years old. It's still run by the people who founded it, and other guests yet to come are Salma Hayek and the trailblazing American independent filmmaker Melvin Van Peebles.
Sounds like a good day trip out to Deauville if you're in the area. You never know. And also underway through this week, the world's oldest film festival. This is in Venice.
That's right. This is Venice's 69th edition. The Cannes Film Festival turned a mere 65 this year. And it's fitting, I think, that the world's oldest film festival should be showing the latest film by the world's oldest living filmmaker, Portugal's Manuel de Oliveira. We see
How old is he?
Oh, he's 103.
103.
And
okay.
he's already in pre-production on his next film. I'm not making that up. This film is in French. It's called Gebo and the Shadow, and it stars Michael Lonsdale and Jean Moreau, who have both themselves hit 80. When the first Venice International Film Festival started, when you think about this, de Oliveira was already pushing 30.
Wow.
In his youth, he was a champion pole vaulter and race car driver, and some people just seem to get so much more done than I do,
I know, it's a bit discouraging, isn't it? I mean, since he was going to the movies when they were still signing, I bet he has a really interesting, though, 10 best list. What about you?
You know, I dislike sort of drawing up lists, but I am excruciatingly happy to recommend the films of the late Polish director Krzysztof Kieślowski, particularly the 10-part Decalogue inspired by the Ten Commandments. Of course, thou shalt not watch Lawrence of Arabia on a cell phone. The 11th commandment was originally discovered quite recently, but you know, it's.
I thought it was the 12th. It's the 11th, is it?
It's the 11th, yes. Kieślowski sadly was just 55 when he died in 1996 after heart surgery, but his work lives on here in Paris. This month, the MK2 Bibliothèque Cinema Complex and the MK2 Hautefeuille are showing all of his films. Now through the end of September, he made 20 documentaries and almost 30 fiction features, Krzysztof Kieślowski.
You say he was Polish. Is there a French connection
There is actually. He made his last 4 films with French producer Marin Karmitz. That would be The Double Life of Veronica, and his trilogy inspired by the colors of the French flag, blue with Juliette Binoche, white with Julie Delpy, and red with Irène Jacob. And most of his movies, I have to say, they have this captivating mystical quality that you can't put your finger on, but it really grabs you, and it doesn't let go. I honestly have no idea how he pulled that off. I remember at the Paris press conference for Stanley Kubrick's last film, Eyes Wide Shut, back in 1999, a journalist asked co-stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman whether they minded putting their lives on hold for over a year to work exclusively with Kubrick, and what exactly did they do all that time when they weren't shooting. And they're actors, of course, and they can convince you of anything, but they did sincerely seem to light up when they mentioned that Kubrick had given them the Decalogue, and they had been absolutely blown away by the emotional impact that it had on them. So you needn't take my word for it. We have the late American master Stanley Kubrick, we have a talented, very tall Australian, and we have one of the world's leading Scientologists. They were all blown away, so if that's not federating, I don't know what is.
No, I know that some of our viewers might be a little bit reluctant to spend too much time indoors in the dark just yet, here in the Northern Hemisphere anyway.
Well, but darkness lends itself to storytelling. I mean, you really can't go wrong with vampires and zombies. And in fact, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, I thought, was one of the most flat-out entertaining films
I saw a trail for this.
summer.
I couldn't quite believe it just because of the title more than anything else. But
And indeed, they make sense of that concept. It's an historical revisionist comedy played straight, but unlike the GOP, it's inherent. It's aware of its own inherent ridiculousness. And I love the film's explanation that slavery in the American South was absolutely vital at the time because most of the vampires lived in the South, and so they had the slaves to feed on. And if you abolish slavery, well, the vampires are eventually going to have to make their way north. So, and what we're seeing here is, speaking of the undead, if you have affection for zombies, or if you are a zombie, a highlight of the upcoming 5th European Festival Européen de Film Fantastique in Strasbourg is the annual Zombie Walk. Apparently, 5,000 zombies put on their Sunday best to lumber through the streets with blank stares last year. And, you know, zombies move slowly, so I thought I'd give you some advance notice to get to Strasbourg by September 15th this year. The Zombie Walk.
It looks like an ordinary day on the Champs-Elysees to me. I don't know. Lisa, thank you very much. Wonderful to have you back. Lisa Nettleson, our very fantastic film critic. You're back off to Deauville now, aren't
I'm
you?
going back to Deauville in an hour.
Immediately.
Yes.
Excellent. Lisa, thank you very much. Lisa Nettleson here on France 24. Very latest news coming up very shortly. Do stay with us if you can.